Hello and welcome to part 2 of a series of tutorials where I will be showing you how you can build your very own server using Python. In the last episode, I gave you a bit of background as to what this series is about. I also walked through with you some of the Flask documentation, which is the module that we're using to help build this server. And also we built a very basic script that ran hello world when we opened the server and started the server. And in this episode we're going to build on that, and we're going to add some extra functionalities, and we're also going to render a HTML page. Just to remind you that this series is not really focused about HTML or CSS. It's focused more on the sort of functionality, sort of program side of things. As mentioned before, all these episodes are pre-planned, so what I'll be doing from now on is I will be taking pieces of code and copying them up into what we built in the previous episode, and then walking through you and talking to you in detail about the additions and going through line by line as to what they do to the code. One thing I do want to point out is that in the last episode I said that this app.root is meant for your URL page path, and that's absolutely true. But another thing that it can be used for is increased functionality. So instead of calling a page, it calls another function. May not be a page, but it calls like a function which can then be used to help increase sort of how the site works and operates. I just want to pause right there just to say that please do subscribe to my channel, and do follow me on Twitch, on YouTube as well, and take a look out for me on TikTok and other channels in the future. And take a break, because I've spoken a lot now for a couple of minutes and I want you to just have everything sink in. I know I keep the video short so that I don't give you too much information, but even that is can be a lot of information within the sort of 10 or 15 minute episodes that I shoot my videos on. Cool, so let's get started. So what I'm going to do is we're going to recreate or create 3 more sort of functions here. So we're going to do app.root again, like this. I'm just going to copy this above here, like this. And then this one we've got /3. So what that means then is when we run the server and we go to we add /3 on the end, it will return the number 3 as a string in this case. And we created a function here, exactly what we did in Hello World, and we called it 3. And we're going to do that 2 more times. So instead of going down and copying, I'm just going to do this. It's much quicker. So they're going to call, instead of 3, we're going to have 6. And then instead of this one here, we're going to have 9. So we've created essentially is what we've got now is our 4 functions in total. So what we can do now is we can run that and we can see it on the screen. So what we've got here is we've got an assertion error here. Let's check I've got everything. Here we go. So here we've got the error. So you've got three functions, and what they're doing is they're calling each other, and so it doesn't know which one to choose, and so it's getting confused, and it brings up an insertion error. Here, view function mapping is overwriting an existing endpoint function 3. So I was exactly right without even looking at this error. So what you need to do is remember to change the name of these functions here. So we've got 6 and we've got 9 here. Just like so. So let's save that and run it again. And then we're going to go to our server, like so, and we have this hello world here, like so. But what we can do now is we can go to 3 and we get the 3. And we can go to 6 and we get the 6. And then we do the same thing with the 9 and we get the 9. And as mentioned before, another thing we can do is we can change this up and we can go to do this. We can do this. So let's say in the 9 we want to do this. We go 3, 6, 9. Just copy that for ease of use. And then we stop the server and then run it again. And then we go like this. Like so. And we go 3, 6, 9. We get 9. And what we've done here is we've basically created a very long sort of URL almost. So imagine instead of you having 127.0.0.1 on the port, you have a domain name like Google or Yahoo or something like that. So you can have sort of google.com 369. And so that's the main idea here about creating your own server. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to then add a page. So let me just put that back to just 9. And the first thing we need to do when creating this page is we need to create a folder here called template. You see on the left we've got a folder called template. This is our server py file here. And in the template we put this file here called basic.html. Forget the form 1, that's for a later tutorial with forms in this series. For this time being though, we're going to look at basic. And here we've got a very basic HTML. So we have to put that in a folder called template and name it basic HTML. And then another thing we have to do is we have to import something called render template. And so what we want to do is we want to essentially return a function that instead of going return hello world as a function, for example, we want it to render the HTML. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So if we go down here like this, and you'll very quickly begin to realize that lots of things, if not everything, runs from or comes from app.root. That's a key thing here. So here we have our another function added. In this case, it's called, we put it under /basic, and then we created a new function called real basic page, and we've returned the render template to /basic.html, and that is a reference to our file in the template folder. And then before we run it, because we put it in the template folder, we have to specify our template folder, just to make sure that the app knows that this is where our template folder is. So once we added template folder in there equals template, it matches the folder name here, and make sure that your basic HTML file or your HTML file here name matches the HTML file name here. Then we can run it. We can save it first and then run it like so. Follow the link and we type in basic. We get our HTML here. So congratulations, what we've done here is we have started a server and we've rendered some HTML on the page. So that's it for this episode. In the next episode we're going to take this one step further as well, and we're going to be looking at other functionalities building on this render HTML page, and we're going to look at sort of HTTP responses potentially as well. So catch me in the next tutorial, and I will see you. Thanks very much for watching.